Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Office Hours, where we discuss media production and tech 7 days a week. We're going to get into those questions today with TJ as our reader. TJ, what do we have?
First up is from Craig Kadoki in Toronto, Canada. Craig says, is anyone using NFC stickers for inventory or automated actions, like adding a link to manuals, etc.? And can you discuss the different types of tags?
Courtney.
Well, I don't know about discussing the different types of tags. I tried these when they first came out. I think these are the ones that I got. There's 60 pieces of NFC adhesive chips. You have to program them, each one individually, at least the ones that I got. And so that makes them, and since QR codes came out, it's kind of pointless to do NFC tags because anybody with a phone with a camera in it can read a QFC tag and have it take them to wherever they want to. And you don't have to get the phone within, an inch of it to read it. And, during the pandemic, everything was contactless, so they kind of frowned on touching things with your phone and everyone's phone touching something else. So I abandoned them pretty quickly because I found that QR codes were a lot more convenient. You could print a whole sheet of them. You didn't have to manually program each one of them. And you could print, hundreds of sheets of labels of them and stick them wherever you wanted.
Alex?
Yeah, kind of the same path. We tried NFC a long time ago and just found that they were quirky and some things saw them and some things didn't. And then we moved to QR codes and then everything worked. So they're not, they're not quite as magical as doing that, but almost everything can take a picture. Just remember that if you're building a QR code, if people are using Android phones, you need to keep a white border around the QR code to ensure that all Android phones, Samsung will be fine, but a lot of the other ones have trouble if they don't see a white border around the QR code itself. That's one little caveat.
And you can get, if you're not in NFC and you need a little bit wider of a berth in terms of scanning, you can get RFID labels. I think if you buy them in bulk, you can get them to be 70 cents to $1.50 per label. So it's a little bit more expensive than the NFCs were, but you can get, when you print the label, like the physical label, which can include that QR code that you can scan, it will also encode the RFID signal as it's going through and make whatever the assignments are and hook it up. You have to do some automation in your system to, connect those things together. But it's pretty exciting technology, if not just a little bit expensive at scale. QR codes are cheaper. And man, when you get a label, I'm just as an aside, when you get a label printer going on QR codes, I had to print 1,000 of them on little 4x6 stickers one time, and they were going, it's just.
Now what were you printing?
So I was printing, it was physical warehouse locations for inventory items. And think about like a massive cubby system that can go 4 or 5 levels high, which ends up being about 30 feet. And you can have, 12,000 pounds in each cubby. So when you're putting that stuff away, if you are searching for that stuff, getting it out is non-trivial. Looking up there is non-trivial. So went into QR Factory that I learned from Office Hours, and I made an Excel spreadsheet that had all of the fields. What was the name? What was the location? And I had a couple custom fields. And then QR Factory, actually, if you download the template, you can see all the different attributes that you can tweak. So you can tweak the font size, the QR size, the safe zone that's around the QR code, the roundness of the pixels. Put all those 800 labels in there, hit import. Within 30 seconds, I had 800 QR codes generated that were a little bit, if you spend the time to take it, go a little bit longer. It'll even go and re-verify that every one of them is accurate, which you don't want to print and hang 800 labels twice. So I took the longer track. But the point was, you have this amazing, this is what I love about computers. You have this amazing ability to take the idea that's in your head and get to a solution in under a minute. It's just incredible. So if you haven't played with a QR code app that allows you to do batching, and you have a project that has a lot of things, it's pretty cool. Next question.
From Francis Frey in Cambridge, Massachusetts, via the QR code. I use and love my Shure SM7b in my home studio. When I travel, I want to use a headset mic. Which do you recommend that can be tuned to sound similar to the SM7b? I will use it with the Rode Video.
Go ahead, Chris.
So I'm not entirely sure in the exact sound quality, but Shure's BR-H50M is their high-end broadcast headset. In terms of what a lot of people use in the high end is the Sennheiser's. The HMD26 is a popular broadcast headset, and if you want the most bang for your buck, it's the Audio-Technica BPH-S1. It's usually around $200, and it has pretty good quality for its price in terms of a broadcast headset.
Alex?
Yeah, I use I think I have a picture of it here. Let me see. You kind of see a picture of my travel studio. This is what I travel with when I take something on the road. Just a couple bits here. This is, of course, now you're using a Rode Video, which will work fine. I have a little Mix Pre 3. This is what your Rode Studio Video would do. I do it with an atem and a Mix Pre 3, and then I have a DPA 4066. I think the new version of that is a 6066, which I think is the best low profile headset that I can find. I really find, as an aside, the reason I'm really attached to the Mix Pre when I travel is because of the noise assist, and I'm in hotels and so on and so forth. It makes a bit more of a difference. I have this Brocoon, Brocoon riser that I put my laptop on, which makes it a lot easier to get my head height, so I'm not looking down on the laptop. Of course, I've got an FX30 that goes into the switcher here. These are nice and small. I carry 4 of them. They have magnets. So they all snap together. So I have 2 for my, and then I have 2 for the background. so if I want to light something up there, and oftentimes this has been going on Mac Break and so on and so forth. 2 little light stands. All of this except for the laptop and the iPad will fit into a 1510, which was kind of the rule. So those are in my backpack. My 1510 is got like all the bits and pieces that I need, and this takes about 8 minutes for me to set up. Not that I time myself when I set these things up, but I would say that those are the DPA 6066 is probably where I'd look at it. It's going to be more expensive than your SM7B, but it's a very, very good microphone. I think they've somehow gotten more expensive. This is what I'm talking about here, and they're now $1,000, which is a lot. But it's a really the bass response I find in the DPAs is very high. The other one to look for is I didn't pull it up quickly. Maybe while John's talking, I can find it. Is Crown makes one, and it's a lot of singers will use it. It's a much larger pickup, and it's I think a little less expensive. It won't look as nice as the DPAs, but a lot of singers who are really particular, Garth Brooks and others, use the Crown.
I just think that they're trolling us with that price. It's $1,080, really? $1,080, John?
I was gonna say it's gonna be really hard to get a mic that is just hanging off of your face to sound like an SM7B and really get that proximity effect that you're getting and probably loving from that mic. So temper your expectations a little bit. It will sound good. Everything that's been recommended will work, but it's not going to be that sound profile that you're looking for. If you really just want to nail that, MV7, MV6 on a small stand will do wonders for you as well and be a lot more portable.
Alex?
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. And John's absolutely right. You're not going to get the same level of it. For me, it's been mostly what to pack. It's just been hard to pack the larger mics. So that's why the headset is really just about it being a smaller package. The Crown, here's the Crown that I was talking about. This is the CM311 head-worn, and so this is that's another one that you can look at, and this one seems to look nicer than the last ones that I looked at. And this is, I guess, an open box one. I just happened to grab that for the picture. So, but that's another one to look at. A little bit bigger, and the reports, I haven't used it, but the reports are that it has a little bit more bass response than the DPAs.
Next question.
From Ola in Kent, UK via the QR code. I'm looking for recommendations for a network-attached storage to replace or augment cloud storage. Can the panel recommend any reliable product they have used over time?
Tom?
Well, I've definitely got some flying time with the Synology brand. I've been using it for about 6-7 years now. I use it for file server, cloud storage. I also have a Plex server. Boy, my wife runs the heck out of that. She loves being able to pull up any of her shows that we've put on there and stored anytime she wants. I also use it for all my Time Machine instances. I have multiple machines in here. So I'm actually running 4 Synologies right now, and I love them.
TJ?
I, too, am in the Synology camp. I have an 8-bay Synology box that I run. It's got like 48 or 60 terabytes of storage in there, something like that. I also run a Plex server off of that one. So if you get one that you some Synologies have enough horsepower to be able to do the Plex server on them so that it can do the encoding that's necessary. One thing I want to recommend to people, I have an 8-bay specifically so that I have 6 of my 8 drives are data drives, and 2 of the drives are backup, or not backup, but parity drives, meaning if one of those drives goes away, I can pop one out and slop another one in, and then it will rebuild the array. And I have 2 because I had an old device that only had 4 with one parity. One hard drive died. I put a new drive in. As it was rebuilding the array, a second drive died. I lost all the data. Fortunately, though, I did have backups. So just be aware that one drive and one Synology is not a be-all, end-all backup.
Mark?
So like TJ, I've had that experience myself. So we do everything in RAID 6, so we have 2 parity drives. We use a QNAP if we want to have Thunderbolt and a NAS drive hooked up to 10 gig Ethernet. But when we really want to store a lot of things, we use this device, which is 45 drives. And as you can see, you can physically put 45 drives inside that rack-mounted. Basically, it's a server because it runs Windows, but it is considered a NAS drive. So we use those a lot when we have tons of storage we want to keep online and local.
Yeah, there are a lot of different options. I have the Synology as well, and mostly because I don't want to think about it a whole lot. I know that if, given the time, I could do a more bespoke solution. I could build a custom one just for myself, but I like the ability to, if I want to turn it into a Plex server, I go onto their little package store, I download the Plex server app, and then now last year when I'm only about halfway through the physical media collection of digitizing the Blu-rays that I bought, but it's just nice that now they're all on an Apple TV. And the other thing that I do is because I really appreciate cloud storage, but I don't ever want to be in the situation where that's where the only way I can have a backup is if I have access to the account, is I actually make a local copy of Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, Box, any of my online file services, and they can be one of those named ones where they have a custom API, or it could just be something that it hooks up via WebDAV or something like that. Anytime a change is made at the server level, it downloads the copy here locally. So if I don't have internet, if I lose access to my account for whatever reason, I still have a copy of all my stuff locally, and I don't have to beg and plead to the big companies to say, please give me my data back. The other thing that I make sure when I'm stacking those Synologies is that, or any sort of NAS, when you're buying drives, don't buy, if you can avoid it, don't buy 2 of the same exact drive from the same retailer, same manufacturer, all that, because if they had a bad batch of drives and they were manufactured next to one another, you might have a problem. So if I'm going to get a Western Digital Red, then I'm going to look for a Seagate or a different sort of NAS drive. From that way, if I'm going to have one failure, hopefully it's isolated. Maybe that's my production brain. Maybe that's me being superstitious. But I hear stories like TJ's where you have 2 drive failures simultaneously, and it's yeah, it's existential. TJ?
Yeah, you bring up a very good point. I actually have in mine, I have 4 drives from 2 different brand manufacturers, and I have spare drives sitting right next to it, waiting to go, of the same size, so that when one fails, because one will fail eventually, I can slap another one in right away rather than have to buy one, wait for it to get shipped here, or run out to the store to go get one.
Next question.
From Vic Hernandez in Springfield, Missouri. Vic says, for non-production video tasks like Webex or Zoom, what cameras would you recommend for home computers like an M1 Mac Mini?
Ken?
Hi, yeah. I actually wouldn't treat doing Zoom calls as non-production. I would, if you're regularly going to be, presenting yourself on Zoom or Webex, I would really think about considering investing in a proper camera. I do like the Blackmagic suite of cameras. The Studio is the less expensive option. I'm actually using, it's rather overkill, I know, I'm using an Ursa Mini, is what you're looking at me now. All of these are actually connected into my M1. So an M1 is, more than enough for that. So, using an atem Mini. So I like the Blackmagic ones. If you're not going to go down the, atem Mini, Blackmagic camera route, the Insta 360, that's what I've mounted on my monitor here, is a good alternative. I do like also the Osbot range of mini cameras. They're good, but I would kind of reframe the question and really serious consider it a production. Looking good on Zoom is really does help to elevate you in those meetings, and you've got the perfect place within office hours to help you with that setup.
Alex?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think, if you're asking about a camera, if you're not asking about a camera, get whatever you want to get. And if there's a lot of, I still think that the links are pretty good. But if you want it to matter, if you're starting to connect it and this is your setup, I think I'd probably, as a new camera, I'd probably consider the ZV-E10 to be kind of entry level of what I would put in there. That's what my wife uses for her shows. And I think that it's a solid camera. It's a little quirky at times. You have to manage heat and so on and so forth. But it is the ZV-E10 2 I think has less issues. So anyway, so that's I would recommend that if you're asking, trying to say I want to look good on WebEx and Zoom, you got to start with a Super 35 or APS sensor and go up from there. It just makes everything look a lot better.
The other thing that you might consider in terms of investing in looking better on Zoom as something that you're focused on is that it's a lot more than just the camera. You can make a camera that's not as high quality look 1,000,000 times better with an investment and some thought in terms of how am I going to light it. You throw a lot of light at a small sensor, it's going to look a lot better, and you're going to get the most out of that camera. Now, I agree. If you're trying to step it up and you want to get something that's APS-C Super 35, whatever you want to call it, with lenses that give you a nice blurred background and make you feel sharp, you are going to look better on that Zoom call. You are going to be able to connect and get your ideas across in a better way. But a lot of people make the mistake of, I'm going to start by dumping a ton of money into the camera, and you may find that you're going to get a bigger return on your investment in terms of dollars and time spent if you work on the room in terms of the lighting and the sound absorption, things like that, than just immediately going towards the magic piece of gear. Next question.
Paul Wall, who's from Austin, Texas, says, as of December 23rd, nearly all foreign drones are banned. What are your alternatives?
Ken?
Unfortunately, there isn't an alternative. DJI are the best drones. There is no alternative. You could obviously move to Ireland. and you can have any drones you want.
Shameless plug for my country.
Yes.
Go ahead, TJ.
Yeah, my understanding is that this is all drones, quadcopters, UAVs, as they're technically known, that have not been approved by the FCC as of December 23rd. Anything that had been approved prior to that date is still legal to be sold in the United States. And this is only for those items not manufactured within the United States. And that's not just DJI, but DJI is specifically called out for all products that have not been approved. So anything that is made in the United States can be flown.
And then anything that was previously approved, even if it was manufactured elsewhere, like if it's a model that's currently in their lineup, they can continue to sell it. We're just not going to get any of the new toys. Is that accurate?
That is my understanding. And there's a with the DJI, there's the Osmo Pocket camera.
Yeah.
There's a fourth version that has been approved by the FCC, hasn't been released yet, but since it's been approved, folks are thinking that will still be allowed to be put onto the market in the United States.
Alex?
And I usually don't, this is touching on politics, but we just want to make sure we understand this is all a dirty deal. Like there's nothing, we just want to make sure we're all clear here that Donald Trump Jr. got on the board of directors for Unusual Machines, and a month later they pushed this law through. This is a dirty deal. And we need to make sure that, to do what we can to make sure Unusual Machines never succeeds. So there might be other manufacturers. We just need to make sure to bury that one. So the best thing you can do is make sure that you're following Unusual Machines. I know that'll sound backwards, but you got to follow Unusual Machines on X and everything else and pummel them every time they post. Like literally just waylay them. Our politicians have to understand that this isn't playing dirty pool doesn't work, and the only way to do this is still a small company. They're still fragile. If they're a large company, I'd say don't bother. We're screwed. But they're a small company and we need to make an example out of them, and so the thing is that the best thing that you can do is, if you see Unusual Machines at CES or whatever, let them know in mass that how unhappy we are. This is just it's completely it's a smokescreen, and it has nothing to do with safety. It has everything to do with politics and people just making money off of us, and pushing us. And they're going to push us behind for the 5 years. Like they're never going to catch up to DJI. That's never going to happen, and because they've got a huge market in the rest of the world. So the rest of the world's going to have great drones and everything else. This will actually most likely push certain kinds of production out of the United States. As DJI keeps on going, people are going to go, well, we can't have those drones in here, and these are the high quality ones that we want, and we're just going to go somewhere else where we can shoot that. It is. I mean, I can't even say the words on this show about how I feel about this. It's just dumb. So anyway, I don't get angry about this kind of stuff very often, but just remember that Unusual Machines is a small, fragile company, and we can break them, and we should.
There's a lot of sales, I think, that went to DJI as well. I know, like personally, I've been on the fence for a while about getting about investing in a Mavic to do some of the work that I do, and I barely got through the article announcing this ban of the sale. Then I looked at the timestamp on the article, and it was only an hour old, and I said, oh my gosh, I need to buy that drone I've been thinking about for the last 6 months.
Don't feel bad about
now.
DJI is not hurting. The rumor is they sold a decade worth of drones in the last 6 months. As people got worried about this, it's been almost impossible to get them. So it's not like they're hurting for money. And there's a lot of them that are already flooding the system because no one truly understands what's going to happen next year about whether we get the old ones.
Them.
I have heard the same thing that TJ was talking about, which is they can keep on selling the older ones. It's just that the newer ones are going to be a lot better, and we're not going to be able to buy them because of these idiots.
TJ?
Well, another thing, DJI owns several other companies like Hasselblad, and people are wondering, well, Hasselblad makes, high-end camera equipment. Things have not, new models. Will those be available? So there is still some question about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's right now the ban is specifically related to drones. So anything that is the Osmo or the Ronin or Hasselblad products that don't fly should be okay.
No, DJI was specifically called out in this ruling as all of DJI's products as well.
They transmit video, I think, there.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes. Any DJI product used in audio or video surveillance, which I believe is the phrase used.
Okay, so there's two, because that means there's one ruling that is against all foreign-made drones, and then there's another apparently just about DJI in general. That's interesting.
Correct.
Now,
We'll have to-
does that include the Ronin 4D, or is that?
I don't believe so. It's foreign-made uncrewed aircraft systems, so I don't think it actually relates to any of their video products.
Well, we'll have to dig into that second one a little bit more, because that could have major implications. Next question.
From Chuck Hodges in Tuolumne, California via the QR code. Chuck says, cheers to Apple for finally hiring a real star like Alex. Great to see real industry change. Why was the live stream for the specials show last night canceled? Was it pre-recorded? Showed up for the show on time, but Mukana was blank and no YouTube there.
Alex?
Yeah, so I think you just went to the wrong Mukana, and that's because we're kind of unifying everything under the office hours one. So the one that, if you're in Mukana right now, this is the one we're using. So it's not two different URLs anymore for all the shows. And to repeat what the show schedule is we have we're still doing something every day, but we're not doing something every morning. So you have the extra hours on Monday, you have specials on Tuesday, you have the audio morning show on Wednesday. Thursday is the rundown. Friday, of course, here we are answering questions. Saturday will be answering questions. Again, we are going to start broadcasting, or we're going to start saving the Saturday sessions so it's another day of Q&A there. Sunday is still the introspection day, and then back to the beginning. So there's still something every day. It's going to vary between the mornings and evenings, and there you go.
Chris?
I think this might be a double whammy of confusion, is because it was also not at night. The special show on Tuesday was at noon, midday Pacific, so that might have also caused some confusion.
Last night was at night, though, for the rundown. So we've been experimenting. Tuesday has been experimenting with a midday with a earlier time so that it is more inclusive for the Europeans. We're trying to make sure that we can staff that consistently, but we did have one UK guest and another scheduling conflict. And the episode on Tuesday with Laura Davidson, who came as Laura Davidson. We normally see her representing Shure, but she was representing Laura, which was really cool to hear more about her story. And that time was what we needed for her. So very lucky to have her. Hey, if you are looking to get into that Mukana thing that Alex was talking about a second ago and, catch up on the other part of the show that you're missing, because you're missing half the show. Let's face it. If you're not in Mukana, you don't see the chat, can't vote on the questions, and we like to see Ask Them in real time. So if you go to officehours.global/join, put in your name and email, you get on our mailing list. That'll get you into the community. You can get into the Discord, get into Mukana, see all the shows as they're happening. All of the shows happen in that one place. That's where all the chats happen. That's where all the questions get asked. And it's a pretty great community. The chat that goes on around this show is worth as much as the show itself, in my opinion, because you have some really, really great people in there who are passionate. We'll put it that way. So officehours.global/join. We'd love to see you there. Next question.
Via the QR code, Tochi Onyabuchi from Miniama asks, hey, Alex, congratulations on the new job at Apple. Hope the future is very bright ahead now. My question today is that my left AirPod has been lost in a catastrophe. How do I replace and sync just one AirPod so it works like it should without buying a new full set?
Alex?
I think, I think that you can order one. So I believe that you can order one from Apple support. You should call Apple support and ask them. But I believe that you can order a one ear from Apple support. I don't think it's on their website. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that that's the case. So, call Apple support, tell them what your situation is, and I believe it's like $100 or something like that for one of the ears.
Yeah, more than likely it's going to be physically take your other AirPod in the case into the Genius Bar, because they're going to need to put it into some sort of mode to pair that second new AirPod with the original. I had a situation once where I was leaving a football game or a baseball game, and I dropped my AirPods in the parking lot, and it did the thing where the AirPods fly out of the case, and there was a bunch of people, and I went down to grab it, and I could only get one. I grabbed the case, I got one AirPod, and then the crowd kind of kept moving, and I couldn't find it. So the next day, I drive back to the stadium, and there was like an open gate in the parking lot, and I kind of like cruised in there. And because the Find My will tell you, hey, AirPod is out of its case. This is the last place that we saw it. And I went, and a car had driven over and crushed the one AirPod that was left on the ground. And so then I took the pieces of the AirPod and went into the Genius Bar. And I think then it was $70, but that was 4 or 5 years ago, and it wasn't the fancy Pro bits. So it is definitely possible. Alex?
Yeah, and Jack Cannon confirmed that you can definitely replace the single AirPods. He said, I've done this in the store.
Next question.
Ken from Minnesota via the QR code. I'm helping with a live streaming shopping show. We are running 2 PTZ cameras into an ATEM Mini Pro into OBS, outputting 720p to channel IO. On a PC, it looks good, Android good, but 2 different iPhones, there's a lot of jitter. Tried Wi-Fi versus 4G. Alex?
Yeah, it would depend on how it's delivering it, but there should be no reason why it could be the modems or how it's handling it. I don't see any reason why it would jitter on one cell phone and not the other cell phone unless there's a very specific protocol that's being used to send those out. Or if because it's a live streaming shopping show, if there's some kind of added features that are being added to the page that it's on, could cause some jittering there that might work in one place or the other. But there's not really anytime a phone is watching a live stream, there's a chance of jitter just because of the modems, just that it's just not getting enough, consistent data. But my guess is if that's not the case, if you've tested it, it's really fast and you're having that problem, it could be features that are added to the website for shopping that may not work as well on an iPhone than an Android.
John?
Depending on how sensitive you are too, it could be that like the ProMotion display is just ramping down its refresh rate, and so it's looking a lot more jumpy to you than it would be. Check that out, and you don't mention what frame rate you're actually streaming at. I would dig into that as well.
Next question.
Douglas Carmichael asks, when working with larger lighting systems, how do you keep records of settings like instrument DMX addresses?
John?
Typically, I just have a very large Excel spreadsheet where I maintain everything I have, and I plan it all out beforehand so I can just jump in right to programming right when we get on site. If we don't have access to the equipment beforehand, otherwise I'm just programming it in the shop.
And then Mickey Macature in the chat mentions that if you're doing your drawings and your plotting and things like Vectorworks, they have a place where you can keep that right in there with your drawing. Remember to share those things. If it's only on your local computer, then it's as good as that piece of paper. Where is it? Next question.
Tom Ferguson from Phoenix, Arizona. Did Santa bring any new tech toys to the panelists this year?
Oh, boy. Let's see. Courtney, go ahead.
No. In fact, what I did was I mailed my address to the Grinch so that he would come and take all the old tech toys that I got over the last 50 years out of here so I'd have room for some new tech toys. If anything, I got my eye on, the Rodecaster Video S, the mini one, but they've been hard to come by. I think they're just now coming into the country, so maybe as soon as they're available, I may pick up one of those from and put Santa's name on it. But other than that, I've been, I need to get rid of a lot of stuff.
I pre-ordered 2 of those Rodecaster Video S's, and I really, really, really thought I was going to get here on December 2nd, and nothing. So we wait. Tom?
Well, earlier in the year on eBay, I bought a Broadcast Studio switcher instead of the little ATEM minis. And so that presented me with a different problem, and that was a high-density BNC layout. So with that, I ended up buying my very first trumpeter. Oh. And this allows you to get in where those little bitty BNC, where you can't get your fingers in. And so definitely the right tools for the right job. That's the way to go, and Santa was nice to me.
Chris?
So nothing broadcast related, but I did get a set of wireless meat probes. So these are RecTech for my RecTech pellet grill, and let me keep track of the temperature of my meat, which is fantastic. No wires, no anything. It's Wi-Fi. I can actually I don't even need to be in the house. I can be anywhere in the world and monitor the temperature of my meat.
You're smoking that brisket for a very long time if you're going anywhere in the world, but you're remote. I'm giving remote support to the protein technicians. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about toms, which Tom will know, but I just want to make sure if anyone sees a trumpeter for their SDI and they go, I want to buy it, just remember that's a large lever, and it's the number one thing that will destroy your SDI connections if you bend it down. So when you use a trumpeter, you have to go straight in and stay straight in. The number one thing I did in the warehouse was scold people who I could just see it going down at a little bit of an angle. It feels like a little bit, but you're putting an enormous amount of pressure on your SDI things. I'm always, it's one of the reasons that we moved to rear twists was to keep our guys from using trumpeters. Because of the lever thing. Now, as far as the question goes, I didn't get a tech tool, but I did get. Oh, it's heavy. My wife knows me, so she got me. This is Doug Chang's Cinematic Legacy. It is heavy. It is a huge art book of all of Doug Chang's cinematic artwork, and it's so much. Anyway, so it's going to be one of my. I've got a couple of trophy books, and I don't have very many, but that's one of them. I worked for Doug for a year and a half, and so there's a lot of pictures that are in that book that I haven't seen since I was at Lucasfilm. So it's really cool.
Courtney?
I forgot about one thing that I did get that I for myself with Santa's name on it is one of these. I'm a sucker for multimeters and test tools. This is the, however you pronounce it, Finirzi. I don't know how they pronounce it. It doesn't have enough consonants in it. DMT99. It's a really smart digital multimeter. You just plug the probes in. It figures out what it is, and it tells you what the value is, and it tracks. I got this because I was having lots of AC problems at my house, and so it has a recording. It's a recording meter, so it will record like the voltage, AC voltage over time, and so it shows you all the spikes and the peaks and the valleys, and it'll measure frequency. It'll measure capacitance. It'll measure a whole bunch of stuff, and it was only $38. And you just plug the probes in, and it figures out DC, AC. It figures it all out, and shows you the appropriate scale and a nice big readout for us old eyes to see.
In the My Wife Knows Me department, I got this little classic Mac clock, which didn't come with the logos printed on it, but it had the ability to little stickers. And then what I like about it is there's this little system disk that you put in. And when you put that system disk in there, that turns the clock on.
What happens if you lose the disc?
Then you can't turn the clock on. So don't lose the disc.
That's a serious disc.
Next question.
Zach Stallsmith from Chautauqua, New York says, I would like to get serious about learning coding languages like Python. Does the panel have recommendations on how best to do that?
Ken?
Yes, I've subscribed to 8 or 9 different online teaching solutions for languages. Boot.dev is the best of them, I think. But really, the best solution is using something like ChatGPT or Claude, because they know Python perfectly, and they can you can ask them to build you a customized learning program for to learn Python or any of the other languages, and there isn't anything better than that. That they can produce a tailored to you solution, learning solution for learning languages. It's one of the best things that these AI tools can do.
TJ?
I've been writing software professionally for more than 30 years. One thing I would recommend is take a look at your local university, community college, technical college. See if they have any classes on fundamentals of programming. That's the big thing that a lot of people I've noticed tend not to have anymore, is understanding the fundamentals of the logic that you need to, how you need to think logically in order to solve the problem efficiently. We were getting a lot of AI suggestions of code that just isn't quite as efficient as it really could be based on some of the learning that these LLMs are doing, reading less than stellar code examples off of sites like Stack Overflow. So look at your local community college and work on your fundamentals.
Chris.
Yeah, everybody learns differently, right? And for me, I learn the best when I have something that I'm trying to do. And so when I learned Python because I had a specific project that I was trying to make work. And when you have that goal, like I'm trying to do this one thing, for me, that makes it easier for me to learn things. Now, when I did it, I had a base because I had taken multiple C++ classes in college. I knew PHP and HTML and all that. So I had a base of understanding of how programming worked. And I think that would be my suggestion to someone who is starting new, is, as TJ said, is to take a class on, like, it doesn't have to be Python, but it probably should be, of basic programming, of like what the basic steps are and so you can ChatGPT, and I use Gemini, and it's great. It's been so handy to like solve problems and be like, oh, I see what it's doing here. This makes perfect sense. But if I didn't have a base of understanding of how programming worked, then that wouldn't be very helpful in the process of me learning Python. It would help me get to the end product, but you want to learn, so you want to know. And so, like as TJ said, I would look at some course to kind of help you with the basics of programming, and if that's focused on Python, even better.
Ken?
Yeah, just going back just to the AI, and I know there's a lot of things about the AI part. With the right prompting with the AI, in terms of like learning the fundamentals about programming, there isn't, as I said, I've got tons of online courses I've used and done, but there hasn't been anything better. You do need to prompt it correctly. I can help with that, from how you would do those prompts to do it. But honestly, there has not been a better learning tool for learning these languages than I found. I personally use Claude, but ChatGPT is just as good in terms of the learning. But you can teach you those fundamentals. It's all just about the prompting for that. So you tell it what your base knowledge is. You can get it to start from ground zero, and it will put together a really good tailored program if you prompt it correctly. But that's relatively easy to do.
I'm very much in the camp with Chris on the needing to have a project. I find that for my style of learning, I need a course, a traditional education course, or a conversation back and forth with an AI that I've prompted to say, hey, you are an expert Python programmer. Help a non-programmer understand the basic fundamentals of how I'm going to go about learning this software, what are the rules are. But after I get past, the ground is down, the sky is up, the sky is blue kind of parameters of how does this world work, I very quickly need to move into I'm making something. Every software program I've ever learned has been because I wanted to do something that I didn't know how to do. I knew it was possible, but I had to dig. People always ask me, how do you learn? How did you get good at Excel? Or how did you get good at Photoshop? Or how did you get good at Final Cut? And it was always, I had a thing that I wanted to make, and I didn't know how to do it. So I asked a bunch of questions. I wish if I would have had office hours, shucks, I could ask a lot of questions. Got better answers. But from a pure coding perspective, I actually had a lot of success using, I don't know if it's Mimo or Mimo. It's not like Mimo Live. It's MIMO.org. They have a computer program that's like a little robot. It looks like this is their kind of icon. And they have little courses on Python and on HTML and CSS, JavaScript, that kind of thing. And they have a web browser version. I use the one on the phone where it just took you through exercises of knowing how is basic code structured. And it looks like they're trying to do some things with AI chat now that allow you to, have a little bit more of an interact as opposed to it being a system on Rails. That for me was great to get a foundational level understanding of, okay, what's going on? How does Python work? And then when I went into using a Claude Code or a Codex, or even working with Gemini, I've used a little bit of all three for different single-use utilities or solutions that I was trying to build. When I had an understanding of the fundamentals of how the world worked, I was much better able to kind of troubleshoot and see what was going on and what was ChatGPT doing. And the other thing that I needed to keep reminding myself was if I didn't understand, having the discipline to stop and say, hey, why does that work that way? Or taking a piece of code that I didn't understand, or maybe the whole code base, and taking it to a different LLM that doesn't have any context of anything that I said in the conversation and say, analyze this code and tell me how it could be improved. Or my latest approach to LLMs has been, instead of saying, is this a good idea, knowing that it's going to tell me it's a good idea, most of the time it's very agreeable. I want it to be disagreeable. I would like it to be critical. So I say, tell me the downsides of this. I make the assumption right in the first prompt that it's wrong, and then have it try and find the fault. And if I say, tell me the downsides of this, and then it doesn't find any downsides, then I think I'm on the right track. Next question.
Steve Crump from Atlanta, Georgia says, now that the Samsung Galaxy XR headset is released, do you think a proper Android XR-focused camera system to rival Blackmagic's Cine Immersive will be developed?
Alex.
The Cine Immersive can develop for both headsets, so it's not that you don't need to have. You could develop using the Cine Immersive. It's right now the pipeline is somewhat focused on the Apple platform. There's a lot of customization that's gone into it, but it can develop for both of those. So that's one answer there. The other thing is there are other companies that make VR and 360, 180, and even just side-by-side cameras. A couple examples are, of course, Insta360. You think of them as those little, the little link and everything else, but they got into the business. They're called Insta360 because they have these larger, they have a couple, this is the largest one, the Titan, but they have a couple different ones that you can jump into there. Kendeo is another one that has both these stereoscopic as well as you can see some of their, these are some of their 360, 12K 3D VR cameras. And so these work here, and Kendeo has been around for a long time, as well as Zcam. So Zcam has also made both side by side as well as 360. So these companies have, these are the maybe not the last three, but the last three larger ones that figured out some way to pivot and stay in VR, but also have other products and try to stay relevant while they're waiting for the next 3D wave, which is about to hit. So I think that the next VR wave is coming over the next couple of years, and these are the companies outside of Blackmagic that produce some relatively good content.
Now, you've talked about when doing 3D in more of a live environment, doing things like beam splitters in a kind of like a do-it-yourself. Is that inherently inferior to these systems that are purpose-built?
No, it's actually superior. It's just a lot more complicated and a lot more expensive. So beam splitters, basically, if you think about a beam splitter, it's basically using teleprompter style approach to things, which is that you have a mirror or a two-way mirror, and you have a camera that's down here like this and a camera that's going through here. This camera goes straight through, and this camera bounces through. And the reason that you do that is because the chassis of the large cameras can't sit next to each other and achieve a proper interocular distance or interaxial distance that matches our interocular. Our interocular should be somewhere between, depending on who you talk to, it's somewhere between 35 and 65, depending on the size of people's heads. And the width of their eyes, and some people can get up to 75 millimeters, and so in that range is kind of where our eyes are spread out to, and how we see stereo. As it gets closer together, it feels flatter. As it goes further apart, it feels more 3D. In some cases, you want to do that, but it stretches everything out a little bit. So if you're shooting landscape and you want it to feel 3D, you might move those cameras even feet. The farthest apart I've had two cameras is a couple, 4 or 5 feet apart from each other. It's very hard to line them up when you do that, just in case you're wondering. But in general, we're trying to reproduce the human eye. And then we've got these big cameras. So we want to use a Red Raptor, or we want to use a Blackmagic camera or a Venice. And so you end up with the situation where they won't fit together. So you use the beam splitter so that they can virtually go over top of each other and make that work. You're going to get a higher end camera, better lensing, better, more control. And a lot of those ones, the side by side, they're both going straight ahead. Any kind of convergence that's created later is virtual, which is never as good as physical. Anything you do later to the content is not going to be as good as doing it with the content as you're shooting it. And so what you want to do is we think that our eyes are looking straight ahead, but they're not. If you actually, and the best way to see this is take your finger and go like this and then pull it in like this. Now, what am I doing now? To keep that finger in there, my eyes are squeezing in. That's a very distorted version of what we're doing all the time. Anytime we look at something that's out there, our eyes are actually building a triangle, from that. That's how we kind of know where it is, but we are actually converging on some point. And it's actually one of the reasons that my daughter was watching Polar Express yesterday. It's one of the reasons the eyes look so bad is because they weren't converging on anything, when they were in that movie. And so it's very important that they converge. And so these larger systems will let you actually affect convergence of the cameras, even though they're in two different places like this. They're doing the math to get them to converge on a specific place. And on a Preston, you can sit there and just turn it. Then you'll see the convergence go in and out. You can usually control interaxial as well as convergence, as well as focus and zoom on the higher end rigs, like the 3-ality rig and some of the other more custom ones. The 3-ality rigs, when they came out, they were $60,000 each. I think they were down to $10,000. Now you can't get them because everyone's jumping back into the business, and so suddenly the market just disappeared again. But those side by side rigs are there. I know some folks are looking at making side by side rigs now that there's a Genlock with iPhones, so that'll be like a tiny little beam splitter. So we'll see how that goes.
Next question.
Cosmic Gujar from Cape Town. I have been using the Blackmagic converters now since switching to SDI and the 2ME. What does 3G, 12G, etc. mean?
Tom?
Well, it's all about bandwidth. You've got your resolution and your frame rate. Your 3G converters will handle 1080p at 60 hertz, and your 12G will handle 4K at 60 hertz.
John?
Yeah, same thing. It's really about what it can handle. Be very comfortable in understanding what you're throwing at it. If you're using the 2ME, I believe that's a 1080p system, so 3G converter should be perfectly fine for you.
Alex?
And just remember that it affects everything that you're doing once you go to 12G. So 12G, of course, is the 4K 60. 6G would be 4K 30. 3G is now back to the 1080p 60. But if you're actually doing 4K 60, so 2160p, 60 frames a second, that puts pressure on everything that's there, including the cables. So the quality of the cables, especially at runs longer than about 20 feet, are going to matter. The quality of the connections that you're using. So when you move, if you choose to actually, if you're not using 12G, an actual 12G signal, it's not going to matter. You can do a lot. Everything's going to work. But if you're using 12G, suddenly everything tunes up where the quality of the connectors, the quality of the cables, everything else, you're pushing everything a lot harder than you would otherwise.
And if you're talking about Python, DMX, SDI, and you're finding office hours valuable, there are a couple ways that you can support us. You can like and subscribe to the show on YouTube. You can also volunteer. If you go to officehours.global/volunteer, we have a lot of opportunities during the show and async around the show. And finally, we are a 501c3 nonprofit. So if you go to officehours.global/donate, you can help us keep the lights on, pay for all this stuff, keep going every day, and we appreciate it if you go to officehours.global/donate. Thank you. Next question.
Zach Stalla-Smith from Chautauqua, New York says, Chris Sabato, how is your multiview app working for the masses a few weeks out? Are you considering upgrades or will you let it sit for a bit?
Chris.
So by masses, you mean like tops 2-3 other people, right? Most of the things that I build are for like 2 reasons. One is because I have a need for it. And 2 is proof of concept, right? I like seeing something and be like, oh, I think I can do something about that. And I do it and I make it work. And I'm like, okay, I've done it. Now let's move on, right? And so I have this tool and it's handy and it does exactly what I wanted it to do, and I'll use it and a couple other people use it, but it's not a product. I'm not going to productize anything. That is not in my DNA to do that kind of stuff. So right now it is what it is, and we'll see.
Next question.
Bunsak Dorji says, hi panelists, I am helping live stream a panel discussion from a library. Should I go for wireless mics or a Shure SM58 in front of each panelist? There are 4 people. How do you position the mics? Panelists will be facing invited guests. Thanks.
John.
I would use the SM58 or another version of that. If you'd like just some sort of a dynamic mic close to the mouth, I would have the mics on probably boom stands, so any hits to the table aren't carried through the microphone. And then just have the mics slightly off center off their face. And then set up the cameras to capture the people. You should have a really great stream. If you can, if there's really quiet people just around the library, grab as many as you can, throw them in the room. There's nothing better than human water bags to kind of deaden up the sound.
Next question. I'm sorry, Courtney.
Well, same answer. Basically, they get a package here in SM58 with one of these boom stands. If they're going to be sitting in chairs, let's say, typical panel setup where they're seated in chairs in front of a screen or something at the front of the library, and one of these small, low boom stands that you can just swing in and swing away from from each person and have it be within 2 or 3 inches of their mouth. That way they don't have to hold it. A lot of times people give them wireless handhelds and they never hold it the right distance from the mouth, that they forget and they have it in their lap. So putting it on a boom stand and swinging it in once they get seated in front of them lets them use their hands to talk, and it gets it close to each person. And a wired version will avoid all the problems of wireless transmission in an unknown location. Just look at Spinal Tap, the original movie, where they're at the Air Force Base and they start getting all the calls coming in over the wireless mics and amplifiers. Then you'll know why you avoid wireless mics in a strange location.
Alex?
Yeah, I'll never use wireless mics unless I have to. So I use I use them when I use them. I have a tendency to not use anything other than Axions. Like if I'm going to get paid for it, then I do that. I have some for event kind of things. I also use electrosonics. I haven't used the sound devices ones, but those are kind of electrosonic sound devices. Axient are the ones that I kind of live in if I'm gonna that layer of them if I'm gonna go wireless, because wireless hits are really sad. So if you have 3 people or 4 people seated, not moving, there's no reason to use wireless. So I would absolutely stay away from that. SM58s work fine. As far as configuration goes, I really like underslung arms to make that work. Here's an example of one here. So we set this up, and I really like this table. I got this table. It's got a curve to it, but it allows you to. And these are not EV20s. They're RE20s. They're RE10s, I think, or something similar to that. Anyway, so these are connected to that, but you can see that we have these arms. It allows me to not have stands, and then we can kind of move them around once people settle and get it right to where it makes sense for each one of them. What's nice here is that they're opened up, and this is for our cameras. I prefer not to have a live stream with people in the room, but that's up to you. But I like this because they're kind of seated. They can see each other. They're not looking down what I try to avoid is having people, when you have people like this talking, they're all looking down at each other, and it just creates bad shots and bad mics and bad everything. So, if I am going to do it and you have a moderator, I will tend to want to have at least, if they're going to be seated and not have a table, I'm going to at least want to separate them a little bit and go like this if I can. So if I can do that, I will, because they're mostly looking at this person here. That way I have cameras off to this side and cameras off to this side, and then a wide here. But the thing I want to avoid is that straight line, because it doesn't look good on camera, in my opinion. It gives them a lot of excuses to not have good mic technique, because they're doing all these other moves around it and so on and so forth. But getting them closer and closer into the round, and we've done them with 4 people. I tend to be a little bit more careful about it, but with any odd number of panelists, I will almost always, even with people in the room, move to the round. So you'll have a round here, and I'll put, let's say, if you have, let's say 5 people or 3 or whatever, what I tend to do there is then shoot the gaps. So I shoot every gap with a camera, and so odd numbers allow you to do this easily. It's a little harder with even numbers, but yet you can move them around and make it work. And then I put all of the people around like this. Now, some folks from a security perspective won't let us do the last quarter, but if we can, we'll put them around like this. And in my opinion, and you figure out where you put cameras, but we've been able to make this work both on a flat and what it really works is if you have risers, you can go up. But in my opinion, that's the best experience. And I thought that was the craziest thing I had ever seen when I was asked to do it. So we did a thing for Richard Branson's, one of Richard Branson's companies, and they requested it because that's what he likes to do it. And I thought it was absolutely bonkers. And when I did it, up to about 200 people, everybody is within 25 feet of the speakers. And it's such an intimate experience to have it, everybody feels like they're right there. And then all the cameras feel like they're right there. And then you're using the audience as the background. Highly recommend thinking about it that way.
All right, let's sneak in one more since I prematurely called for it anyway.
Tlaloc Lopez Waterman in New Mexico. On the new Apple feature that allows you to connect multiple Mac Minis, do they all have to be the same spec?
Ken.
No, they don't. They all need to be running Tahoe 26.2 and above. Only works with Thunderbolt 5. Machines can be any specs, but they need to be Thunderbolt 5. And because Thunderbolt 5 is like a point-to-point, getting the clusters to work is difficult. I would recommend using the software, because the software isn't really developed in the Macs to do the clustering. A program called EXO to do that clustering. Your Macs won't run any faster. What it is, it pulls all the memory together, so you can run large language models which require a lot of memory. That's really what this RDMA, this feature that Apple brought out, which is brilliant. I mean, because the Silicon Macs are already great at running large language models, but now you can cluster them together. It's not difficult. It's not easy. EXO I would highly recommend, and still then it's still, the order that you do. So get good quality Thunderbolt 5 cables. Don't cheap out on that. But it clusters all that memory together so you can run really, really large AI models.
John?
One thing to note, if you are mismatching hardware, is that it's going to run at the slowest rate. Everything's going to have to be timed together. So if you have an M4 Max and then just a regular M4 chip or M5 chip, potentially the memory bandwidth is going to be a huge part. The SSD bandwidth is going to be huge. And then the actual CPU itself, or the GPU, which you're taking advantage of, it's going to be clocked to the lowest speed, and then you'll be sharing it from that. But it's really awesome. It's a great way for hobbyists and maybe prosumers to kind of get into running their own larger models. But when it comes to the bandwidth, what you're seeing from like the NVLink stuff and what you can do with the NVIDIA and the data center, it's slow.
Alex.
I think that also we want to look at rendering. So, I mean, this ability to have 4 of these together linked, I don't think that's come out yet, but I would be surprised Apple moved their Final Cut Summit to the spring. I would be blown away if they're not showing compressor using an entire cluster to just rip through things. So this, I think that the ability to render like things, for instance, like the immersive footage, which takes, I mean, it's measured in days. Like when I'm rendering immersive footage, it's days of rendering. So these will make a massive difference in that area as well.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming in on your Boxing Day for a wonderful panel discussion. Thank you to our panelists for coming in and answering all these questions. It was great to see a nice big panel. Even if Chris and I are fighting this weekend, it's fine. It'll be fine. The Santa hats will have to come off. Also, thank you to our producers for asking such great questions. If we didn't get to your question, we did have to send a few back. Your Mukana questions will be back in your notes, and you can bring those in the next time that you're watching. If you ask us a QR code question, then we'll get into those either tomorrow on the Saturday show, or if it was audio related, we'll sneak it in on Wednesday. And finally, thank you to the back end crew. We appreciate you all working no matter what the holiday is, no matter what the day of the week is. You keep us going every single day, and we couldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. The Talalic Traversal today, if we would have to do this in person for episode 2103, that would be 41,000 miles. That's 67,000 kilometers, 328 million bananas for scale. See you in after hours. You know, Alex, this 3D could be a thing. You should consider a career in that.
3D
cool.
models.
You mean it's coming back?
Oh man. wait until you see the live stuff. It is the live, just 2D.
Live in the theater stuff?
Live in the theater. It is stunning. It's so good. And we didn't even, I don't think we took it to the nth degree, but I don't think I've been as excited about 3D. And
when does that roll out, Alex?
I don't know how long it's going to take for the 3D stuff to roll out. The 2D stuff is going to roll out in February or March. Yeah, so we're almost done with the theaters getting installed and everything else and getting them verified. And then the next step. Yeah, the next step will be